talk about Future Knock. How did that start, and what's the vision for that?
So Future Knox started because I had a SoundCloud show, if you want to call it that, where I just found producers and producers submitted music. In the beginning, I was just finding producers that had like, they used drums at knock, or they just had like hard hitting stuff, just stuff that I liked, and I put together a SoundCloud episode. And then I opened it up for submission where producers could send in their own music, and I would just make these episodes every couple weeks or every month.
Yeah.
And it just kind of started doing its thing on SoundCloud. I'm at the point right now where I'm looking for a new platform to kind of house that, and also looking to expand it to more than just instrumentals, but full songs, like maybe get like a radio show.
Mm.
I'm still trying to figure all that out. But Future Knock, it kind of just started becoming a thing on its own.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I hear you say somewhere that that's also your label?
So my label is called That Knock.
That Knock.
And
Okay.
I was actually, this year has been like a reconfiguration year. I'm thinking about how I want to have Future Knock out there. And at first I was like, Future Knock is now called That Knock, because
Mhm.
I didn't want to limit it to Future Knock,
Yeah.
the idea of the future.
Yeah.
But what I realized was Future Knock is its own thing, and I can't stop that. Like it already has almost come to the point where it's become a genre. So I can't just
Right.
change the name of it. I kind of put it out there and I have to see it through.
Right.
So Future Knock is a part of That Knock, which is the label, which just became official this year.
Got you. Got you. Have you started signing anyone, artists, producers to your label?
I've been talking to some artists, but nothing is official yet. I'm just taking it slow because I find that when you jump too quickly into things, sometimes you can burn out. So I want to make sure I have a really good plan with how I can help these artists before I move forward. I don't want them to just sign to something that isn't fully set up yet. So I'm in the process of fully setting it up. And when that time comes, I want to have like a really solid infrastructure for artists to get their stuff out there.
Right. Right. Do you plan on signing producers as well?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I plan like, and the other thing is this pandemic has been crazy, man. I had gotten a house in LA, like an apartment,
Oh
and
shit.
and it was going to be a production house. Like every room was going to be like a studio. It was a beautiful spot. It
No.
had like a view, it had like a balcony, all kinds of dope shit. It was in Mount Washington, which is my favorite neighborhood in LA.
Uh-huh.
It was all set up. I was in LA right after I went to Atlanta. I was in LA. It was a week before the pandemic hit. I put the deposit on the spot, and boom, pandemic hits. And so I found a replacement, since I was renting and I got out of that situation.
Mhm.
But it was a bummer, man, because that was going to be like the beginning of the start of the label, and it was going to be a production house. I had a vision to have a bunch of producers come through and just make music all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but things change and you just got to pivot, and there's always gems and even situations that seem negative.
Yeah. Fuck, man. That's
Yeah.
a bummer. So you were planning on picking up and moving to LA. Uh, do you still are you're in New York right now, right?
I'm in San Francisco, and
Oh,
I,
San
I was gonna
Francisco. Yeah, 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 yeah. My
I
bad.
was gonna oh, no problem. Yeah, I was gonna keep my spot in SF and have the spot in LA be more of like a production house. I'd live there sometimes. I'd have producers come through. Um, I even had a roommate who was a really dope producer. It was a whole plan, and it just didn't happen as planned, and that's okay, because that happens. And I had to move on. And I think a big lesson for everyone, because everyone's going through this right now. It's not, oh, woe is me, like my plans didn't work. Everybody's plans are getting thwarted because of COVID. So it's all about in that moment when your plans get thwarted, like how do you pivot? What can you control? Focus on what you can control, not not being a victim.
Right.
Because there's always a way you can elevate yourself and you know make progress even when things get shifted.
Yeah, no, that's hella true. Because I remember before COVID, I was doing my whole Sound Advice tour, and the
Right.
tour was going really well. I had like 10 more dates set up for the tour, and tickets, cities were selling out. Boom, and then COVID hit, and I had to basically announce that the rest of the tour is postponed. Um, and I just came straight back to Atlanta from Seattle, I think was the last spot that I was in. But yeah, it sucked. And then I was like, you know what? Since everyone's attention is online now, this might be an opportunity in disguise for me to build a more online platform. So then I launched Sound Advice Now, which is kind of like the online course and tutorial space. So it's like you said, it's all about pivoting.
Right. And how has it been going for you so far? Like
It's
switching to the online format. Have like what have you seen?
it's been really dope, man. I mean, I've been I've been, utilizing the online space for a while now, back when I first started Beat Club, which was like my online producer mentorship program, which eventually merged with Music Entrepreneur Club, Dame, DJ Payne One, and all that. And then I left that situation to start the Sound Advice brand. But it's been dope, man. I mean, you can't deny the opportunities that are available to producers now because of the internet. And I feel like if you're not taking advantage of that space the way that you've done with your sample packs and that whole thing, and Fusion Knock and like everything else that you're doing to build your online presence, like you're just missing out on so many opportunities. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. The internet has completely changed the game from when we started producing.
Yeah.
Um, it was much harder to wrap our heads around how to make it all work, especially for me because I was living in New Hampshire at the time. Not just me, but anyone who lives not necessarily in a major hub in like New York, LA.
Yeah.
It's very it was a challenge to make it work. Now with the internet, you can be in Alaska and
Yeah.
and make this shit pop.
Yeah. Facts.